African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of October 4, 2025. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue the special military operation. Units of the North Group of troops inflicted defeat on formations of 2 mechanized, airborne assault brigades and an assault regiment of the armed forces of Ukraine in the areas of the settlements Kropotshchina, Krasnopoli, Kondratovka, Iskryskavshchina, and Petrashevka in the Sumy region. On the Kharkiv direction, defeat was inflicted on units of mechanized, motorized infantry brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements Volchansk and Chuganovka in the Kharkiv region. The armed forces of Ukraine lost over 215 servicemen, 2 combat armored vehicles, 8 cars, and 5 artillery guns, including 2 of Western production. Destroyed were a US-made and /TPQ-50 counter-battery radar station, 2 electronic warfare stations, for ammunition and material depots. Units of the West Group of troops occupied more advantageous lines and positions. Defeat was inflicted on personnel and equipment of tank, 2 mechanized, assault brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements Kupiansk, Petrovka, Volchayar, Gleshkovka, Novosergivka, Petropavlovka, Peskino, Borovskaya and Drivka in the Kharkiv region and Yampol in the Donetsk People's Republic. Enemy losses amounted to more than 220 servicemen, a HMMWV armored vehicle and a US-made Max Pro armored vehicle, a British-made Mastiff armored vehicle, a Turkish-made Cobra combat armored vehicle, 17 cars, and 2 field artillery guns. Destroyed were 5 electronic warfare stations and 7 ammunition depots. Units of the South Group of troops improved their tactical position. Defeat was inflicted on formations of 3 mechanized, motorized infantry, airmobile, assault, mountain assault brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine and a National Guard brigade in the areas of the settlements Severovsk, Regorodok, Platonovka, Reznikovka, Zakotnoye, Nikolaevka, Minkovka, Kuzmanovka, Fedorovka, and Konstantinovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost up to 230 servicemen, a combat armored vehicle, 12 cars, and 2 artillery guns. Destroyed were 5 ammunition, fuel, and material depots. Units of the Center Troop Group improved their position along the front line. Defeated personnel and equipment of 3 mechanized brigades, a Ranger Brigade, 2 airborne assault brigades, 2 Marine brigades, an assault regiment of the armed forces of Ukraine, a territorial defense brigade, and a National Guard brigade in the areas of the settlements Dmitrov, Rodinskoye, Ivanovka, Krasnoarmeysk, Krasny Lyman, and Moskovskoye in the Donetsk People's Republic. Losses of Ukrainian armed formations amounted to more than 450 servicemen, 2 tanks, 2 armored combat vehicles, a pickup truck, 2 field artillery guns, and a radio-electronic warfare station. Units of the East Troop Group continued advancing into the depth of the enemy's defense. Defeated formations of a mechanized brigade, 2 assault regiments of the armed forces of Ukraine, a territorial defense brigade, and a National Guard brigade in the areas of the settlements Orestopol and Dnipropetrovsk region, Chervono, Novobrigorovka, and Poltavka in Zaporizhia region. The enemy lost over 290 servicemen, 2 armored combat vehicles, 19 vehicles, and a radio-electronic warfare station. Units of the Dnieper Troop Group inflicted damage on personnel and equipment of a mountain assault brigade, a coastal defense brigade of the armed forces of Ukraine, and 2 territorial defense brigades in the areas of the settlements Malayatok Machka, Maly Sherbaki in Zaporizhia region, Olgovka, and Antonovka in Kherson region. More than 55 Ukrainian servicemen, 2 vehicles, an artillery gun, an ammunition depot, and 5 radio-electronic warfare stations were destroyed. Operational tactical aviation, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, missile troops, and artillery of the Russian Armed Forces troop groups inflicted damage on energy facilities supporting the operation of enterprises of the Ukrainian military-industrial complex, sites preparing for the launch of long-range unmanned aerial vehicles, as well as temporary deployment points of Ukrainian armed formations, nationalists, and foreign mercenaries in 143 districts. Air defense systems shot down 5 guided aerial bombs, a HIMARS multiple launch rocket system rocket of U.S. production, and 314 airplane-type unmanned aerial vehicles. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, destroyed 667 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 88,028 unmanned aerial vehicles, 631 surface-to-air missile systems, 25,351 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 1,592 multiple launch rocket system combat vehicles, 30,176 field artillery guns and mortars, 43,185 units of special military automotive equipment. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.